who is the best Fast and Furious character of all time? The Fast family sure is a big one, and choosing a favorite out of the Fast and Furious cast might have you hitting the brakes and needing some time to think. Well, forget about it, Q. We don't need a drag race to decide this one, as we offer up our definitive ranking of the best Fast and Furious characters. Dominic Toretto. All Dom wants to do is live life a quarter mile at a time, admire somebody work, and spend time with his family. Sure, he might break a few laws in the process, but we won't hold that against him. Dominic Toretto is fearless, loyal, and always one step ahead of everyone else around him. His high-stakes, harebrained schemes may sometimes sound crazy, and they do on occasion put those closest to him in danger, but more often than not, Dom's bravery and ability to get out of any sticky situation is usually enough to keep the team out of the clutches of the law. Long before he became everyone's favorite 3 in the MCU, Vin Diesel helped to spawn one of the most successful franchises in cinematic history. If it wasn't for Dom, there would be no Fast and Furious, and for that, we are eternally grateful. Brian O'Connor. The late Paul Walker, and his character Brian O'Connor, are almost as synonymous with the franchise as Vin Diesel's Dom. The cop-turned-criminal brings all the charm and right from the first movie, instantly wins over audiences, and indeed the Toretto clan. The character goes on a turbulent journey throughout the series, ultimately choosing the loyalty of the Toretto family and everything they stand for, abandoning his career with the LAPD. A large part of this decision, of course, is down to Mia Toretto and the beautiful relationship they share, which really makes you root for O'Connor. From the moment he facilitates Dom's escape at the end of The Fast and the Furious, to the pair's emotional farewell in Fast and Furious 7, Paul Walker's legacy in this franchise will live on forever, and his enduring friendship with Dom is one of the series' most delightful elements. Han Solo. First introduced in the worst movie of the whole series, Tokyo Drift, Han manages to be by far and away the best thing to come from that particular movie, and cements his place as one of the best Fast and Furious characters. It's a shame Han seemingly dies in Tokyo, but thankfully he appears again in the next few installments in the series, which are set before the events of the ill-fated third movie. And he even comes back from the dead, with a spectacular return in Fast and Furious 9. Effortlessly cool, calm, and collected, Han never seems to be fazed by the insane situations unfolding around him. Plus, his character's name is Han Solo, which is the coolest Star Wars reference ever, so he gets bonus points for that. Mia Toretto. She may be Dom's little sister, but Mia Toretto certainly does more than enough to stand as one of the best Fast and Furious characters in her own right. While she may not be at the heart of the action all the time, Mia's development from not being able to drive, to being a key part of many a heist and escape mission, is brilliant fun to watch. Often a calming influence and the voice of reason, Mia is the person who brings out the best in both her brother, and Brian O'Connor, too. Mia is arguably the most grounded character in this franchise, and as such, the most relatable, giving her journey great emotional weight. Roman Pearce. First introduced in Too Fast Too Furious, Roman Pearce immediately becomes the main source of comedic relief in this high-octane series. His boisterous energy, brilliant rapport with pretty much everyone he meets, and inch-perfect line delivery, offer fantastic entertainment value. Roman, or A-Rome as he is affectionately referred to by his old friend Brian, may have an insatiable need for food, but he doesn't always have the same hunger for a heist, seemingly being the only one who calls out the craziness of some of the gang's plans. He would clearly much prefer a life of comfort and luxury, but he just can't help himself when the Toretto crew come calling, returning time and time again to help out his buddies when they need him the most. Luke Hobbs. It's no coincidence that the best Fast and Furious movie is the first one where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson shows up, with the fifth installment of the franchise introducing us to the abominable Luke Hobbs. The actor's undeniable star quality shines through immediately, and he really helps to elevate the series with his commanding screen presence and action-packed prowess. Not to mention his unforgettable line delivery of "Give me the veggies." Although he initially begins his fast journey trying to stop the Toretto clan, Hobbs soon develops an immense respect for Dom. Whether the two are going blow for blow, or hitting each other with a wisecrack, their chemistry is a real highlight of the franchise's later movies. Elena Neves. While she may not have a huge part to play in terms of actual screen time, it has to be said, Elena Neves' impact on the Fast and Furious franchise is huge. Between fighting the good fight as a dedicated officer of the law, and helping out the Toretto team whenever she can, Elena is also a key figure in setting up one of the most shocking plot twists in the whole series. Elena is a severely underrated character, who sacrifices so much for the cause. Not only does she step aside and allow Dom to reunite with Letty, despite being pregnant with his child, but she also pays the ultimate price when she dies at the hands of Cypher in order to protect little baby Brian Toretto. Deckard Shaw. One of the Fast and Furious franchise's main issues is that many of the villains can be quite bland and forgettable. Enter Deckard Shaw. When Jason Statham joins the series as the dastardly Deckard, we finally have a memorable bad guy, who not only poses a real threat to the Toretto crew, but also brings a screen presence to rival the likes of Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel. Indeed, Shaw's great rivalry with Johnson's Hobbs is one of the series' most valuable assets, and it's not surprising that the enemies-turned-brothers earned their own spin-off movie together. Deckard is skillful and smart, but most importantly, you just know he's enjoying every moment of his ass-kicking escapades. Mr. Nobody. When Kurt Russell shows up, you just know he's always going to deliver. And, as the mysterious Mr. Nobody, he does just that. He's super cool, enigmatic, and charming, as Russell often is. And, of course, he has access to an insane arsenal of technology, weapons, and impressive vehicles. What's not to love? Mr. Nobody is a powerful man who can make things happen, and he regularly brings the team together, and he even manages to turn sworn enemies into trusted allies. Since his arrival in Fast and Furious 7, it's hard to imagine quite how the gang would have succeeded if it wasn't for this man. Particular praise is also needed for Mr. Nobody's handling of his Prot A copyright G8 copyright, Little Nobody, whose frustratingly rigid adherence to the rules is softened over time by the nonchalant guidance of his master. Hattie Shaw. The Shaw family is a who's who of badass Brits, and while her big brother Deckard arguably rules the roost, Hattie Shaw is perhaps the most fierce female in the whole Fast and Furious franchise. Admittedly, women don't often get a chance to shine in this series, but Hattie very nearly steals the show in the Hobbs and Shaw spin-off movie. Hattie is ultimately one of a very elite club of people who can say they faced Idris Elba's superhuman Brixton and walked away, not to mention holding her own when coming up against Luke Hobbs, too. If a Hobbs and Shaw sequel does indeed materialize as we expect it to, we sincerely hope Vanessa Kirby has a part to play again. And so, we have come to the finish line of our rundown of the best Fast and Furious characters. We hope you like our very own most wanted list. Who is the best Fast and Furious characters for you? Please write your comments and let's discuss. Thanks for watching.